Alright, we are recording. So, continuing in Mad Max. Also, if I have the right thing highlighted, doesn't it? Key was originally provided by WB Games in 2015. I believe that's right. That's when the game came out and I reviewed it. 1, 2, 5, 6 things I got. But this first, I remember I promised we would actually be working on these missions.
You... over here, please. Hey, Dune Drifter. I have something to tell you. Me and my child, on our way to our new master. Our rig was ambushed by buzzards. But we fled.
What do you want?
There's hidden things in the rig. A treasure for someone like you.
Why tell me this? I'll do nothing for you.
I have a feeling you may yet. The rig still sits in the tunnels. Go there and see. You... help me, please.
Okay.
Where will they take us?
The tunnel is beyond the wall. They call it the Dead Barrens.
Dead Barrens? Yeah, I gotta get through that jaw first.
All around us, the grounds were covered in wet, salty water full of life. My people believe this water will come back to us on our day of reckoning. And then we must be ready. We must patch our ship together and make her whole once more.
You believe that?
They need to cling to it. Now, personally, I see an acute necessity to armor this wreck up. Prepping for the wave of man scum which will soon come crashing down. The war boy army. Lord Scrotus, back from the dead. Pfft. Help me get the steel I need. Not the brown rotted sheets of wafer you find out here, but real prime steel. With it I can reward you in armor or scrap, and find plenty extra. Fix up my hull.
Alright. Oh, final.
Eastern tunnels. That's where you'll find the steel. If there is.
Okay, so that I can actually do. I need to go all the way over there, but I can do. Yeah, let's actually do that. I'll hold off on Hope's mission, though, because that I have to get up here. So I will first do all... I will clear this one, and I'll clear this region. Then I will actually assault the Baron's Pass.
That might know more.
Yeah. Alright, don't know what.
Do you know of a tunnel in the Dead Barrens?
I do. It's near Gastown. Rigs pass through there on their trade runs to Bullet Farm and the Citadel.
Yeah, and I know I could fast travel, but maybe I feel like taking the ride. Nah. So the first thing I have on the list is that this week, Edge of Eternity, which is a game I reviewed, was it a month ago now? I don't remember exactly, but it's gotten its update that adds support for Fidelity FX Super Resolution (FSR), and I've not had the time to look at it too closely. I did launch it up on the test system. I updated it both on the test system and desktop, but I launched it up just to look at the settings on the test system. Well, wait. Did I only look at it there? I don't remember now. It's been that kind of week. I've been busy with a review that I can kind of talk about. I'll get to that. One thing about it that I am a little disappointed by is the update appears to have also taken out the Fidelity FX cast sharpening, which is actually redundant because the S is sharpening, but yeah, that's not there anymore. It had been. You do still have the sharpening slider, though, so you're not sure exactly what is up with that, but the options, the setting is there. The options are there for FSR. I don't have an RTX GPU in the test system at the moment, so I didn't see DLS there as well, but I assume that it should be listed for both an RTX GPU and, well, an RTX GPU should list both DLSS and FSR. That's the point. But I haven't looked at it to see what the quality and such is. As I said, the week has been a little busy.
We're looking for healthy steel. Still shining. What do you know about the Eastern Tunnels?
I know them. Burrows of the old steel serpents. There's fine steel there. Oh, yes, yes. But buzzards also. Red eyes always watch me.
Just show me where it is.
Damn it.
Tank! The red tank!
There. Other news I have is Intel, and this, yeah, so besides writing up, well, in addition to writing up the gaming news from the week, which there actually wasn't that much, which I am thankful for. And there's some of that I can talk about. There was also some hardware news. AMD shared some stuff, but also Intel shared... I don't know the full context to it. I think it was a larger event. As I've been saying, it was a busy week, so I don't know exactly how all of it went. But, but part of what Intel announced was, well, shared was its roadmap for its process technology, or process and pack, which is fairly interesting. Among the things, though, is renaming, which does make sense. And if you read the Anantech article, you do get a sense, or if you look at the Tech Potato video, you get a sense of how much this stuff has been annoying Ian Guttress over at Anantech for years. And it's fair to be so annoying.
This opens from the inside.
There's an opening. Over there. Big enough to slide through.
Okay, that's not... Oh, no, it's a... But yeah, and as he points out, basically, the likes of TSMC and Samsung, and potentially also Global Foundries, so they're not doing bleeding edge anymore. But it's like when they improve their processes, they may just increase the... well, actually decrease the number. So it's like, you go to... Actually, I guess that would be the best example with Global Foundries of 14 nanometer and 12 nanometer. 12 nanometer is very similar to 14 nanometer. It was an improvement, but it wasn't really a full node jump, and that is something that has annoyed Ian Guttress for a while, which is fair. That's what these companies have been doing, and Intel has kind of been lagging in that regard. And another way to put it is Intel's 10 nanometer process that they had been having issues with for so long is actually kind of akin to, its aspects are similar to characteristics.
There are buzzards in this hole.
Are similar to what you find with TSMC's 7 nanometer. So Intel has renamed stuff so that now its 10 nanometer process is labeled Intel 7. No nanometer, just 7. Then, don't remember if there's a 6, but there's a 5 and a 4. Is there also a 3? I don't remember. But it will also drop down to Intel 20A and 18A, and these are over years. Although the Intel 7 change would be, they mentioned that for Alder Lake, which is this year. Hope I'm doing that. The A.
Whatever it is, the angel can surely exorcise the evil.
The A would suggest angstroms, but it's still, Intel's not necessarily going for some sort of actual physical measurement here. It's just branding, it's marketing.
Subway.
Trying to think what else there is to that specifically. Nothing much. As far as the marketing names go, they also announced that they will be getting the first from ASML, the company that produces the actual things for fabricating chips on silicon, like the photolithography systems. That's the company making them. Intel apparently will be getting, it's partnered with them such that they will get the first high NA, I think that's the name of it, EUV system. So presently all the leading edge stuff is using EUV, extreme ultraviolet. What high NA will do, which is high numerical aperture, is what it translates to, is it increases basically more power to the laser, to the light source, which allows it to produce better defined lines. And that can technically already be achieved, but by increasing the number of the patterning, which I think would be the mask. So yeah, you can get finer lines, but it also reduces yields. So not necessarily the ideal solution compared to just having a better production yield.
There's the steel beast.
Still on rails. Where does this tunnel lead?
Oh, out, out into the great white, up high on the cliffs, and then, ooh, a plummeting downwards of cubic proportions.
Okay.
Keep an eye out. No surprises.
Yes, gladly. It is my sacred plight.
See if I can do this. I think I can. It's just a little there.
Right. I'll use the car to push it out.
So yeah, that will be a fairly significant thing then for Intel. Is getting that kind of lead, especially since they've been having their problems with the 10 nanometer. It is being used. It is in production, but it's still, they have been having problems. So getting that lead back, I'm sure they very much want. They also announced along that line, I don't remember which one it is, if it's like Intel 4 or something. Maybe it was 20A. No, I think it was earlier than that. Moving to ribbon FETs. So that's ribbon field effect transistor. So the current standard is FinFET, and they resemble fins. I don't know if it actually is a wire, but basically, in a transistor, and boy, I wish I knew this stuff better so I could be more confident in what I'm saying. But you have a channel that carries the data and a gate that goes across it in some form. And they used to be planar, so 2D thing. And what the gate would do is allow you to manipulate if the signal goes through, or potentially the signal itself on the channel. What FinFET, the FinFET design does is go to essentially a 3D design. And yes, I know there's a good chance its FinFETs are 10 years old now, at least as far as CPUs go. When I looked it up quickly, it is apparently an older technology than that. But it enabled greater efficiency, greater switching speeds than the traditional 2D CMOS method. I think it was. But it still was, basically a channel on the substrate, and then the gate being like a perpendicular plane to it, being on 3 sides. So it's a tri-gate array. And that's something that, when I was looking it up to make sure I know what I'm talking about, oh, duh, I forgot to do that. Just went back to the car. There you go. That tri-gate array. So, yeah, array. Anyway, the tri-gate design, that's the thing that Intel figured out in 2011 and used for its processors at the time. Yeah, Intel was involved in the in FinFET design. And I would not be surprised if that design is what is dominant, the tri-gate design for at least processors. What the ribbon FET isn't a gate-all-around design. So instead of it being channel and then the things around it, the gate around it on 3 sides, it's the channel is actually run. The gate is like a column, and the channel runs directly through it, so it's surrounded on all 4 sides. The image that Intel used showed like 3 ribbons going through. I don't know if that's like just the artistic what they're going with, or if it is they would actually need to be 3 channels going through. I don't know, but it still is. This is a much more compact and potentially much more efficient design, because I think they were saying higher switching speeds, same amount of current needed, driving current, but in a smaller footprint than current FinFETs. And I need to get a drink of water, so I'm going to stop for a little bit.
Ah, the vastness in the open sky! I live again!
We just gotta push it over the edge.
But yeah, so that is also a pretty big deal. I don't know anything. There would be plenty of other companies like TSMC working on gate-all-around transistor. But it still is Intel being able to say, and we're aiming for its release at this time, I think 2024. It is still relatively important and significant, because that is like the next step for transistors if you're keeping to silicon.
Now we send up a flare and Gagash sends his goatee.
I'm just a little leery of having to go all the way through it again. Let me look over there, and then I'll just leap off with the car. So that's that. What else was there? Aside from the Foveros packaging stuff, which is also pretty cool. I think that was it. That's all that's coming to mind. But yeah, so Foveros is... Wait, which one's Foveros?
I need to polish some hard-to-get parts in the engine bay.
Bring the car!
No, that's... Where... Ah, here we go. I just didn't see it on the other side. Was I blind?
I found you! Hope. Get some of this stuff. That steel would make beautiful things for the magnum opus.
Alright, yeah, I'm gonna try to get this last thing. Come on, brain, turn over. So yeah, the Fovros stuff, which it's... Can I just say more generic, the packaging stuff? Because I honestly don't remember what some of the delineations are between EMIB, Fovros, and but they announced Fovros Omni and Fovros... Crap, I don't remember what the other one was, and I just wrote this. I just wrote it up. Direct, that was it, Direct. The Omni, Fovros Omni is, that's to... How did they call it? I'm trying to remember the specific word they use. Can't think of it, but basically it should allow greater flexibility in the combination of dyes. For these Fovros is for combining, is for multi-die, multi-chip design. It's a packaging method, bringing so many things together. With Omni, it allows for greater variety there, including such things as, and this if you look at the Ian Cutress's Tech Potato video on it, he does explain how I was hoping someone could get rid of those. That part of what it allows is to have a larger die or dies on top of a smaller die. Typically, you would expect it to need to be smaller dies on top, larger dies on the bottom, or the same size. But this, with Omni, it allows that to not be the case, where it will actually build up a copper column. So if you have a smaller die on the bottom and a larger die up top, a copper column can be built, can be grown, that will then directly connect to the top die, and the result there could be such things as like power delivery directly that way instead of, oh yeah, that was another thing, power delivery directly to that top die instead of needing to go through the lower die. Which is important, and that was something that I did forget about, another technology for the process manufacturing, not the packaging, the process stuff that Intel revealed, called power vias, where basically the current way a CPU or GPU, I would assume, is manufactured builds up. It's layer by layer, and you'll add in metal layers and such and etch those so that you can have the wires connecting everything. Well, those wires will carry signals, actual signal information. So, like what the computing is, what needs the data between the compute aspects, the logic aspects of the processor. But you also need power connection. And that actually is all on the same side. All those wires are routed near each other because it's built up with the logic on the base and then that stuff up above, the wires up above. What Power Via does is it would allow power to be on the back side. So basically it would be like a power processing, then wires, then data connection, which would be significant because by removing power from next to the wires, you would improve signal. You would reduce the interference that the power would have on the data signal. Which, going back to the Fovros Omni, you could also see that happen there by virtue of the whole having the copper columns to the side of the smaller, lower die carrying power for the upper die instead of power needing to go through the lower die. And then Foveros Direct is essentially chip on chip, or wafer on, no, chip on wafer, from TSMC, where it would directly connect the two chips together, two dies together, where you would need to very precisely, but lay them on top of each other, and they would bond themselves at certain points. So you essentially just stack the dies on top of each other. I want to say that the bonding is not so much, which is why I kind of say it with an implied air quote, is the bonding isn't like, I don't think it is that they actually add some sort of bonding agent or adhesive there. It's just when you get this stuff that close together, like the copper that close to another, a copper via that close to another copper via, it'll just adhere itself. It will bond itself. Not necessarily to the level of, say, welding, but you're probably not going to see such forces applied to need that level of adhesion. Not even sure if that's technically the correct way to put that adhesion, but you get the idea. It still is very impressive, though. I mean, it's like, just because, oh yeah, you didn't need to actually glue it together, it just sticks itself. It's like, yeah, but you do need to get this thing very precisely aligned, because we're talking about objects, like those copper wires being microns, millionths of a meter in scale. Nanometers would be billions, by the way. But that is, like, I'm pretty sure that's what TSMC is already making available to AMD with the V-cache stuff, where it's, you know, just a SRAM cache stacked on top of a Zen 3 CPU die, compute die. Where is this last one? It still is, you know, Intel also achieving that is important. I mean, it's just because TSMC may have had that first, doesn't mean that Intel achieving it isn't important. Or isn't significant. Alright, oh yeah, that's right, a minefield. Let's aim for that, and... Oh, actually... Okay. Yeah, so definitely good stuff from Intel has announced. Hopefully they can deliver, because I will admit, I like that AMD has been dominant. I like that. In part because I like, you know, the underdog story kind of aspect to it. But also, I'm really happy with the AMD products. I mean, maybe not so much the 5000 series, but things are just weird for pricing at the moment anyway. But, I mean, it's, you know, like, my 1950X, my Threadripper 1950X is amazing. And that that AMD managed to bring 16 cores, 32 threads to the masses then with the 3950X, which is on the Ryzen, the consumer platform, not HEDT platform, but the consumer platform. I really like that. That makes me happy. And yeah, it's, my comment with the 5000 is, it is an improvement over 3000, but isn't it also a little bit more expensive? It's like, it didn't just like didn't replace it, like slotted in a little bit above. Isn't that the case? I don't remember the pricing for it, because it's not like I was gonna buy that stuff. I don't have the money to do so, or the income to do so. Alright. Will be interesting to see what Zen 4 will bring, which also... Oh yeah, which is actually part of the other thing. I saw something... I didn't look too deeply into it, I didn't do investigations, but apparently AMD has stated that Zen 4 and RDNA 3 are on track for, I think it's, 2022 releases, which for CPUs, the expectation is a Zen 3 Plus, or at least the V-Stack version of Zen 3 coming out this year, the end of this year. While I mean, I guess, do we really need to be so concerned with the idea of RDNA 2 not necessarily being refreshed until we get RDNA 3 next year, because you can't get RDNA 2 stuff that easy. Although they did also announce their RX 6600 XT, which is, it's funny, it technically is targeting... Oh, that's not what I meant to do at all.
Most infidels fail to recognize the sacred parts of the great
they're marketing it as like
spiritual
1080p,
schemes
but it's
scattered
like
across the hills and valleys.
high frame rate 1080p.
I recognize their scrap holy treasure.
Because, I mean, the performance numbers, well, the performance characteristics it was talking about in the press release, it's like, that's not 1080p, because that should be beating the 5600 XT, which was akin to Vega 56 and Vega 64, which were 1440p cards in their day, and still can't achieve that today. So that's gonna, 6600 XT should be still 1440p, maybe not highest settings 1440p, but should still be capable of that, I would think, I would hope. Unfortunately, the suggested pricing is $379 for it, which is not that good for a 1080p card, but hopefully it is that's what AMD is saying it is now, but once we are out of the craziness, that the suggested price would be lowered, or AMD just wouldn't touch it and let market lower it. Don't know. Because, I mean, let's face it, in theory that should be more or less the RX 580 replacer. So it shouldn't be like $100 more than the RX 580 was. I think it launched at $250, didn't it? I don't remember, but I feel like that might be the case. It launched at $250. I paid $200 for mine, and I think I saw it at one point, not too long after I purchased it, a little bit lower at like $190 or $180. New. I don't think I ever saw an 8 gig 580 go lower than that. I could be wrong, but I don't think I ever did. I don't think it ever did go lower than that. Oh no, they never. Wait, no, there were 4 gig. There were 4 gig 580s. I don't think, though, it was necessarily available in the North American market. But I think there were 4 gig version. The 6600 XT is 8 gig, though, with 32 meg of Infinity Cat. I'm curious about how well that will perform. Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know if we might see an RDNA 2 refresh. I mean, I guess, in a way, it would make sense, depending on what AMD decides is the best strategy. Where it's like, once, as things calm down and, like, pricing stabilizes and falls, I could believe in AMD, or any company, deciding, okay, how we're going to try to take control of this situation. Let's read this.
The treasure of food. Freely walking and breathing.
But I could see the refresh being used, a refresh being used, even if it's not that significant a refresh, but to reset pricing. Sort of like how NVIDIA with the RTX 2000 series sucked for pricing. I mean, we're used to, and maybe we shouldn't be used to it, but no, we should be. We should expect the pricing to, over time, it's like the $500 gets you better. You know, it's you spend $500 10 years ago, you spend $500 now, you get significantly more performance now. Turing didn't really make that shift, at least not initially. Damn it.
Expose him! Check him!
Like the RTX 2080. Do I have this right? I'm trying to remember exactly what some of the pricing was. But wasn't it basically horizontal? As far as pricing went at launch for Turing? Where it's like, yeah, it's, you know, might have some nicer features than the 10 series, than the Pascal stuff, but it's not like it was, you know, like you're getting the 1080, GTX 1080 performance at the 1060 price. That isn't what happened, as I recall. I hope I'm remembering correctly. It'd be embarrassing if I'm not. What are you doing? Oh, this isn't very good. Well, hang on. No, maybe this will be good. If he stops and gets out, I'll be able to take the car. Yep. Then let's get out of here.
This could work as cover.
Okay. I was thinking, I didn't remember having this over. So let's go. But the Super... Yeah, that was the point I was getting to. The RTX 20 Super Series did fix some of the pricing, because it basically shifted things up. The 2060 Super was more in line with the 2070, but I want to say its pricing was better, so it's like that finally fixed things there, but I personally think that it still was kind of too late. People felt that, you know, no, you didn't shift the pricing as we were expecting to. This doesn't really redeem it, even though they were better offerings. I could see potentially AMD and Nvidia too. It's not like that it can only be one of them, but I could see them potentially deciding to do a refresh at the time that things have stabilized in order to try to reset pricing. But it is just, would they do that? Don't know. I mean, it would depend on if you have a viable refresh candidate at the time. If you want to disrupt your marketing naming that way, like does AMD want the 7000 series to be RDNA 3, or would they be okay with an RDNA 2 Plus, assuming that even could be made? Or do they not even have work on an RDNA 2 Plus? I mean, I'm just, you know, musing things in my mind. The whole, if RDNA 3 is going to be just on track for next year, don't know when next year, would a refresh make sense? So that's how I got on that track. Yeah, I don't know, but I could see a refresh being used that way to reset price. It's not unreasonable. It will also be interesting though to see how things change to try to prevent the runaway pricing that we have witnessed. Because it is nuts, and there's multiple actors in play that are causing the pricing to go up, including distributors. It's like that's part of it. It's not just like AIBs. It's not just because Asus, MSI, Sapphire, EVGA, etc., are trying to get more money. Yeah, sure you do. Where is that fracas frame thing? Here it is.
Soon be ready to face every kind of fun.
Oh, I didn't mean... Ow. I meant... Well, yeah, that's true. I can actually just... I should be able to just back up. I want to grab the buggy. There. Okay. That I do need to look at, but that can be later. An email I got. I don't know what that email actually says, but I can talk about the idea to it. Oh, no, actually, it's completely off topic, but it's apparently Amazon sent out emails to people that was still actively using older generation Kindles, mainly the first and second generation, which I have a Kindle DX, which is basically a Kindle 2 made bigger. I think it's an 8.9 inch screen. I like it. It's quite nice. Unfortunately, I haven't connected it and synced it for a while. It seems like when I want to put documents on there or something, I put it on there by USB, which is why I didn't get this email, but the Kindle 1 and 2 only connect by 3G or 2G. Well, AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint, etc., 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 they're ending those connections at the end of the year. So apparently Amazon decided to, for those still using these devices, to basically send out emails with an offer on a discount for an upgrade and such. And it's like, I didn't get the email, but I did see reporting on this, so I reached out to find out more about the offer, essentially, and to get the actual email, if possible. Because, I mean, do I need a new Kindle? No. It would be nice to have one that has the built-in backlight, you know, as opposed to, because they do also have a Kindle 3, which that's not really going to be impacted because that is both 3G and Wi-Fi. But it's like if I want the screen illuminated, I got the nice case for it where I can pull the thing out and there's LEDs that shine on it, but it's not got the nice backlighting that you see today. So it's like it would be tempting. Depending on what the offer is, I might decide to upgrade. But I need to see what the offer is. And it looks like I got at least an email about the fact that I did contact them today asking questions.
Nah, I don't like them. Yellers, smellers, stealers, all over the place. Peeps from Balefire, stealing our yeller. It's just not right. Nah, I'm my own man. You wanna help me out? Split this stuff down the middle?
Alright. Works for me. That. The singular issue with the buggy, it is not meant for any kind of combat. Plus, you have no means of repairing it. Well, no, I guess you can just spend scrap on it. At some point I will do those. I'm not worrying about them for now. The last thing I have noted is, and I can talk about the review I did work on some. I don't want to get too specific. But also the Forgotten City review. Wouldn't mind talking about that one, since that went live. But the last thing is my ability to cover science news. Even though I did cover something last week, unfortunate timing in a way, or ironic timing. But my ability to cover some of that stuff is significantly curtailed now because the service that I used for that, where it basically gave a whole bunch of RSS feeds that were nicely filtered by the different topics, has been changed. And I understand the need and desire to change, such a system, to upgrade such a system. I do not understand why the place decided to do so without continuing to have those. I think that's not meant to be there. Without those same separations. Like, there isn't anymore a planetary science or a chemistry or mathematics single feed. It is actually now I think it's like 5 or 6, with one of them being peer reviewed. It's like, yeah, I do understand the importance of peer review. I also understand how peer review is really not that good. It's just what peer review actually means and achieves does not really give as much credibility to it as some people want it to give. But anyway, and it's like, that doesn't really help me. You're taking away this very useful thing. It sounded like they are still going to make some changes to it, based on some things I've seen, but also that if you create an account, which I did not, I never needed one before, you might be able to set up the filters to essentially have similar kind of thing as to what had for a while. Oops, hang on. Okay. It's funny, I actually kind of remember this.
Watch out! The gas counter!
So yeah, just because of that change, I might not be. I mean, not that I have covered it too often, because just busy weeks, and yeah. But I would still go through all the stuff that I was getting in and mark it. So it's like, oh, this is really, really interesting. I will be sure to cover that. But it's like, even that, I like can't really do anymore. So yeah, I mean, there are still some of the things that'll be fine. Like I have the MIT news RSS feed directly, Berkeley Lab, the Fraunhofer thing. Though that I don't always see stuff. So I will still get some stuff, but not like I used to. And I mean, I can also go through and try to find some more and add some more. Like Sandia every now and then has some fun stuff. Lawrence Livermore. Just trying to think. What else? Wait a minute. I was there. Oh no, that's right. I hadn't gotten this last one. But yeah, I mean, we'll just have to see. Hopefully they will revert some of the changes, or rather make the changes to bring the former features back. We'll just have to see. But yeah, so talking about the reviews, the one that went live, The Forgotten City, I did enjoy that game. I really did. That's the sort of murder mystery. I want to see if there's a way to get up to this guy. I don't see it. Sort of a murder mystery kind of game with time looping, so that you can go back and every time you fail, you benefit from the information you gathered, as well as the anything you picked up, which I did learn was more powerful than I was expecting by accident. I accidentally stole something. I didn't mean to, but I got to keep it, so it worked out nicely. Yeah, let's go there. And then grab the car, the Magnum Opus, take care of that, and back to the buggy. But yeah, so it was enjoyable. I definitely did enjoy it. trying to remember. There were some weaknesses. I just can't remember what they are at the moment. But overall, definitely did enjoy it. The game I reviewed this week, though, that actually came out last week, it's just, scheduling of stuff was very unfortunate for getting to some of the stuff quickly. Okay, no, I need to go around. Was Death's Door? Because of the multiple keys I got, that was the one that I was most interested in seeing. I also have a key. I don't. Well, no, I shouldn't name it because I don't necessarily want to commit to doing another review right away. I want to finish an article I've been working on for weeks and months. I kind of like to do that one first. Apparently, I found the thing. Yep, right here. Okay, it's revealed, so I'm gonna go back. Take care of this. Yeah, Death's Door. I don't remember if I actually named it. Cues of Out-of-License PR for Devolver Digital. And that... I have the review written up right now. Remember, I record this on Friday. I already have it written up. I need to do media selection when I'm done with this video. And then I can submit it. And it can basically go live anytime. Because that game, as I said, it already came out. It's just unfortunate timing for me. Yeah. I'll leave the general stuff, even general stuff, my general impression for the actual written review. But yeah, just that will be coming. I don't know when. Oh, and I also just remembered, that's right, the Switch lubricating thing has gone. That article went live. And the Switches still feel good. They have, breaking them in, they have changed a little bit, but I'm still quite happy, and they still sound. I think I mentioned there that the sound changed. I don't remember now. I'm still happy with it. It's just to that, but it's like, I'm glad that has gone live. Especially since, what am I giving? 2 more weeks, I think? No. 1 to 2 weeks left. On these, the... I'm giving it about that much more time before, because these are the JWK linears, and I also have the JWK silent linears, and I'm gonna, both were unlubed. The linears are now lubricated. That's what I've got in the NK65 right now. I will go back to the silent linears for a bit, so I get the feel for them again. Then lubricate them, and do that right up. So yeah. So it was nice to see that one article come out first. And I just hope that is helpful to somebody that's at least interesting to people. Because I am very happy that I decided to look into the custom keyboard stuff, and that I was allowed to actually, reach out and try to get involved. Well, try to start doing the hobby and do the articles about the stuff too, because it really has been a lot of fun, and I really like the results. It's like these. I'm just now thinking, maybe the blueberries, the NK blueberries, because of how flat that tactility is. But between the 2 keyboards, the 1UP keyboards, the 1UP 60 HSC, so 60% hot ANC hot swap. Between that and this NK65 that I'm using, the experience has been better than what I had with my Razer keyboard that I was using as my daily driver for years previously. Even the Cooler Master's CK550 that was provided for the test system, even it's like these keyboards I like the feel of better than that. But to be fair though, the Cooler Master keyboard is still a very nice keyboard. Changing out the keycaps on that makes such a significant difference. But it's like, I love the fact that because of, basically being allowed to explore this topic, that I can say that. That's not just say, yeah, this is, the keyboard that I use with the test system. It's say, this is the keyboard I use with the test system, and if you, like, change out the keycaps, what I put on there were double shot PBT, shine throughs. It's like, putting that on there, it felt so much better to type on. I mean, it's like, it was actually enjoyable to type on, because typing on it as it is right now with the stock keycaps, it's like, you can. If that's the only keyboard I had, I'd be fine with it. But it was like, okay, it went from I can type on it to I want to type on it with the other keycaps. That's a huge difference. But it's like, I so enjoy using the other switches, though. The WU4s are my favorite. The Pandas are shortly behind them. It's like, make those dampening and you got a real competition with me. Well, make them silent by dampening them, I mean. There. The silent linears that I will be lubricating in like 1-2 weeks. I am very interested in seeing how those feel lubricated and sound lubricated, because I could believe that will... I don't think it will beat the WU4s, because I do so enjoy a tactile experience. But it's... still the that's kind of funny. Just the angle at which I actually punched him was awkward. But it is still just... They were so quiet, and hey, if I would want the linear action for some reason, they felt quite good. And lubrication should make them feel even better. Alright, here. Let's try doing something like that, but I want to go a little bit further this way. Okay. You know what? How long have I been going? 58 minutes, I just hit that. Okay, so here's what we're going to do then. Mad Max minefield location. Since that's all I've got, I'm just going to look them up and try to find them that way. Because, come on, I don't think it's that big a deal. Alright. Where am I? Weak Hills. Alright. Okay, I see where that is. That is over here. Yeah, I mean, it's... I am so glad having gotten into the custom keyboard stuff, and the lubricating of the switches, that's part of it. That is part of the hobby in there. It's within the reasonable extremes, as I call it. And the impact with these switches has been tremendous. It's very clear that they have been impacted by the lubrication. And as I think I tried to say, hopefully I did a good job saying it in the article, I don't know if this is something I would... Because there are definitely people, when I look at what some people that are more active in the hobby than I am. Like some talk about it like a no, it doesn't matter what the switch is. They won't even necessarily try it yet. They will just immediately lubricate. It's like, I don't think I'm to that level. It would be more case by case, but I completely understand why you would just do that. I mean, I guess if you have the time and you also have the lubricant or the money to buy it, because The lubricant is not that cheap. At least not the actual Switch lubricant. So it's like, I mean, yeah, this... And I kind of lost the thread a little bit, but it's just... I can definitely understand why somebody would be like, nope, all the time. It's like, not my approach, but I can respect it. Completely respect it. Kilo. Got anything else? Not really. I want to say, parchment. Wait, need one more. Down there and up there. I don't know which one I would have already got. There's one down there and there's one up here. That's actually... No, the one down here. And... Oh, no, not even that far down. This way. Okay. Come on, brain, turn over. Is there anything else to really talk about? Yeah, I guess I can talk a little bit about the whole... The article that I'm working on. I'm still going through the scripts, which is not even the portion that I'll put into the article for the website. That'll be just with the GitHub repository of the script. But man, it is so true for me that doing such a write-up is a good thing, because it makes me go through and explain to myself how some of the stuff works, which then triggers me to basically make it better. Where it's like, you know what, I realize that this could be done a different way. That way is technically better. It gives me this advantage or that advantage, or it's just a better way to code, so I'll do it. And I am happy with making a better method, a better code, better example of the code. I might also end up having to apply some of it elsewhere, though. By that I mean like bringing into the CPU scripts. It depends, because not all the stuff is really translatable, because there's some data that's unique to the GPUs that isn't there with the CPUs. Although who knows, maybe some of the stuff I could figure out how to apply to the to like the just other data processing scripts, the CPUs, or even the just frame time processing. We'll have to think about that. And I have made notes about some stuff where it's like, you know, check to make sure it works this way. Check to make sure if it can be applied to the CPU. So once I get this, I will be able to stop. Oh, no, I can mention that. Just one thing to do with a little time. Splitgate, which is a free-to-play shooter that entered into open beta recently and was supposed to release on Tuesday, is now actually releasing, I'm just thinking, is there anything? No, really. Is now actually releasing August 10th, I think it is, because they delayed it 2 weeks. The reason was because the open beta saw such success that the developers were like, oh, we need the time to make sure that the servers will be able to handle it. Because they saw 2 million people download it in the open beta. Which is... That's very good. That's definitely a good thing. And it looks like it could be an interesting game. I downloaded it finally, so I'll look at that in a little bit. At least launch it, see what the settings are. I don't know how much interest I will personally have in it, because I'm not much for multiplayer games, and it is multiplayer. But it's basically a high-speed and action FPS, multiplayer, remember. But it also gives you portal guns, essentially. So Portal mixed with Halo is what I have seen some people describe it as. Not that I know much about Halo multiplayer. Although I did buy the Master Chief Collection in the most recent sale. I haven't touched it yet. I don't think I would do much multiplayer in there, but at least I have that. So yeah, it certainly seems interesting, which is why I downloaded it. I want to look at it some, and yeah, we'll just hopefully hopefully the extra 2 weeks will be enough for them, because it's always disappointing when there's a freshly launched game and the servers can't handle it. Because there's certainly people that's like, if that happens, then they may completely forget to come back to the game, and it's, a loss then. But there are also going to be some people that it's like I would be more in the family of, no, it's okay. I understand. I'll just try again, the next day, in a week, maybe, whatever. But it is definitely, you want the servers right, especially for a multiplayer game like that. You do not want to have server issues in a match. It would just hurt the experience for everyone. Alright, that's enough blathering and rambling and so on. So, yeah, I shall see you next time. Probably will be continuing Mad Max. It did occur to me to maybe try doing Splitgate, but I didn't feel like it. Just this, I knew I have everything set up for. I've got other things I need to do today, so it's scheduling, timing-wise, this made the most sense. Alright, yeah, see you next time.